So I read this article. It says 5 weird theories of what lies outside the universe. Physics have long studied the nature of the universe, but some go a step further into the unknown and probably unknowable, contemplating what lies outside the boundaries of our universe. Is it possible that something else exists beyond existence? Yes. Here are 5 theories about what that something might be. The outside of the universe question gets tricky right off the bat because first you have to define the universe. One common answer is called the observable universe, and is defined by the speed of light. Since we can only see things when the light they emit or reflect reaches us, we can never see farther than the farther distance light can travel in the time the universe existed. This means the observable universe keeps getting bigger, but it is finite. The amount is sometimes referred to as the Hubble volume. After the telescope that has given us our most distant views of the universe, we're never able to see beyond that boundary, so for all intents and purposes, it's all universe we'll ever interact with. Beyond the Hubble volume, we know with some certainty that there's more universe out there beyond that boundary, though. Astronomers think space might be infinite with stuff, energy, galaxies, etc., distributed pretty much the same as it is in an observable universe. If it is, that has some seriously weird implications for what lies out there. Beyond the Hubble volume, you won't just find more different planets, you will eventually find every possible thing. Read that again and let it sink in. Everything. If you go far enough, you'll find another solar system with an Earth identical in every way, except that you had cereal for breakfast this morning instead of eggs, and another where you skipped breakfast, and one where you got up early and robbed the bank. In fact, cosmologists think that if you go far enough, you will find another Hubble volume that is perfectly identical to ours. There's another version of you out there mirroring your every action 10 to the 10 188 meters away. That may seem unlikely, but then infinity is awfully infinite. So if we're living in a parallel universe, I think what happened probably, and if there's different alien civilizations out there, probably space and time got warped, and that's why we have these parallel universes. And this is, of course, where it really gets to the really unknown, like unknown species, unknown force we don't know about, natural, unknown, unknown stuff. Dark flow. In 2008, astronomers discovered something very strange and unexpected. Galactic clusters were all streaming in the same direction at immense speed, over 2 million miles per hour. New observations in 2010 confirmed this phenomenon, known as dark flow. The movement defies all predictions about the distribution of mass throughout the universe after the Big Bang. One possible cause: massive structures outside the Hubble volume exerting gravitational influence. This would mean that the structure of the infinite universe beyond our view is not uniform. As for the structures themselves, they could be literally anything, from aggregations of matter and energy on scales we can barely imagine to bizarre warps funneling gravitational forces from other universes. This is where I'm talking about there has to be some kind of other species than us, greater than us, alien, some kind of different species, aliens, and they have different physical laws on their planets and universes and stuff, and they generated forces and they have powers, and we just can't understand. And if because there's different but say if it wasn't aliens, say if we were the only species, right, and there's no God, well, how could it come to be? Well, this is what I think. If there was no aliens makes the answer easier, and it only makes sense. So many universes, so many planets, there has to be another species or species greater than us, or more intelligent than us. Not necessarily greater. They could be greater. I mean, I would figure they would have more advanced technology than us. But it said like if there was no aliens and we were the only species, well, how could all of this come about from other worlds? Well, if we find out how we came to be about, and then we found out what caused the Big Bang, everything just natural, and we found stuff that we didn't know that was natural. So like we found something on Jupiter that had something to do with the Big Bang, you know, um, um, or other universes, or maybe a different form of matter, a different form of energy, and technically, everything evolved, um, through a different means. If our universe, we find out how everything evolved, and then another universe, we'll just find out how everything evolved from there. You know, whether different forms of matter, different elements, different technology, different chemicals, different powers. So, yeah. But no matter how you pinpoint it, it can never be God, because there's too many gods, let alone which God in the religion. Not only that, if you have a God, well, how did that get made? How did that get created? You say it all existed? Well, the universe would have always existed, but the universe came to exist. So it's another, when you throw gods in there, it fills the gap easy. Oh, God did it all, but that doesn't explain anything, because it's much more complicated than that. Even the Pope believes in evolution now. It's going to get to the point where, when we really get to the unknown, which we're going to, as this article is describing, it's going to destroy theology, because it's going to be so bizarre and unknown. And it's going to be very interesting indeed. For the God believers, you don't have to be scared, because this is what we live for. We live for the truth. You want to know the truth, how we came to be, how we came to existence, how everything came into existence. You might be scared, because it's like if an aliens, had a lot to do. Well, if that's true, they're not contacting us, so they could be friendly aliens. But gods, you have infinite regression, Who created that God and that God and that God. So it can never be a God. Let alone what it look like. Would it have like glowing eyes and just hurling things? No, that's ridiculous. We know how science things come into being. There's no God up there controlling things. Because if that's the case, we wouldn't need science. God did it all. But that's not the case. Science has always explained everything without God. So it's if there's a being, what do you call it? Perhaps there's alien and there's a super being, like a super alien. Like I said, this goes to the things we just can't. Our small brain, we can't understand. But we'll get there. Different forms of mathematics, totally different than ours. Different bizarre unknown things, the unknown of unknown. But we're gonna get there. So maybe we could find something in Jupiter, and that can, piece a puzzle, because scientists really think there's something on Jupiter. And scientists are usually always right. When they detect something, they know something's there. Have a good feeling. So maybe something we can find in Jupiter can help piece the puzzle. Whether the Big Bang, whether us, how we came to be. I say the people, the religious people just want the answer right away. But you have to be patient, You got to be like Matt Honey. Got to work through this to the end. I'm patient, Got to be patient, folks. But it will never be a God. It's impossible, literally impossible. And so So like the article says, as for destruction itself, it could be literally anything from aggregations of matter, energy, on scales we can barely imagine, to bizarre warps funneling gravitational forces from other universes. But I think everything just evolved, and whether aliens had something to do with, maybe, but nonetheless, everything kind of just evolved over probably even past the billion years mark. It could be trillions, Okay, there's something called infinite bubbles. Talking about things outside the Hubble volume might be a bit of a cheat, since it's still really the same universe, just as part of it we can't see. It wouldn't have all the same physical laws and constants. In another version of the story, the post-Big Bang expansion of the universe caused bubbles to form. So this was before the Big Bang. There was caused bubbles to form in the structure of space. Each bubble is an area that stopped stretching along with the rest of space and formed its own universe with its own laws. So that kind of explains it now. Our universe, the bubble, probably alien stuff, form a universe with our laws. Then another universe has different laws. It's like this article is saying. I haven't. There's got to be another species. It had to be something to do. But even and if it's not, so like if aliens had nothing to do, wow, truly amazing how it can all start. This could even blow our mind even further, because aliens makes it easier to fit the puzzle. But if there was no aliens involved, and we finally explained that would be even more insane, because there's so much out there and we just solved everything. I guess we'll see how it plays out though. So each bubble is an area that stops stretching along with the rest of space and forms its own universe with its own laws. In this scenario, space is infinite and each bubble is also infinite, because you can store an infinite number of infinities inside a single infinity. Just imagine how much more complicated another universe mathematics, or a different branch of mathematics. We just cannot understand, how amazing. Even if you could somehow breach the boundary of our bubble, the spaces between the bubbles is still expanding, so you never get to the next bubble no matter how fast you went. Then there's another theory of black hole spawning. A theory proposed by physicist Lee Smolin, known as the Fukan universe theory, suggests that every black hole in a universe causes the formation of a new universe. Each universe will have slightly different physical laws than the forerunner universe. So even if you didn't, even when you come up, even if you're not super scientist or just me, like a regular person, just atheist, really thinking outside the box, what you're thinking, either one of your thoughts is going to be the answer, because like I've been saying, other universes going to have different physical laws. Exactly what the article's saying, So in this way, Smolin suggests a sort of natural selection for universes, as laws that lead to the frequent formation of black holes led to the creation of more universes. And the universes, when they sprout up, they go from baby, they're really small, baby universe, to adult universe. Everything grows, evolves. While non-black hole forming universes die out. This theory has since been discounted by Smolin himself and others. And then we have the many parallel universes. There are tons of theories about parallel universes, but the most accepted one these days involves the evolution of ideas of string theory to involve membranes that vibrate in other dimensions. Just imagine another race out there. What kind of stuff, what is out there? You know how in the movies they show the aliens, different worlds out there? But that's fiction in the movies. We're talking the real, of the real aliens out there, and the real dimensions. You know what I'm saying? It's like the movie's always ahead. They have an idea. With the sci-fi, they always have an idea. But when we find out the aliens and other worlds and other